Now, a lot of ladies ask me about guys hitting it and losing interest. What causes guys to just fall off after they seem to like them a lot? Well, it's a lot of different things that cause that. Sometimes it's some of the things you might have said along the way, some of the things you might have done along the way that you may not have even noticed. I'm not saying that to pass blame, but I'm saying that to tell you things that you might be able to do something about. Now, guys kind of work like this. A lot of times you might say something early on in the relationship that really offends a guy. You might do something that really offends a guy early on in the relationship, and their initial thought process is, well, maybe she doesn't like me. And a lot of times what they do from there is try to work harder. They try to pursue you a lot more. You might have seen this before. They might try to pursue you a whole lot more. Then once they start smashing, or once you start really showing strong interest, they say, well, wait a minute, she does like me. So maybe that was just her personality. Maybe she's just a bad person, or maybe she's just somebody who can't be in a relationship or whatever. They start thinking these different thoughts about you. Now they start holding a grudge because of something that you may have said or something that you may have done, and that totally changes the relationship. A lot of times it starts falling apart because of that. Now, sometimes, of course, the person didn't like you, or they just wanted to hit it or whatever, but we're talking about things that you can actually do something about. So this video is going to be about 3 things that you should never say to a guy. Some of the things you might say on the front end that cause that person to have resentment on the back end. The number 1 thing you don't want to say to a guy is anything criticizing his looks or his style. Now, I want you to think about it from your own perspective. What if you went on a date with a guy and all of a sudden he started making fun of your dress? Or all of a sudden he started making fun of your looks? Do you think you would still really like that guy? Now, as a woman, most likely you probably wouldn't go out on another date with that person. Because most of the time, when a guy messes up on the front end with a girl, deuces, it's over. But for a guy, he may take that as more of a challenge. Wow, I don't think she really likes me. Let me see if I can get her to like me. But once he does get you to like him, once you do start wanting to date him, you do start wanting to really be in a serious relationship with him, a lot of times we as men will go back to something that you said about our looks or about our style or something like that and go, you know what? I really felt offended by that. A lot of times a guy will totally flip on you because you said something like that a while ago. It could have been 2-3 weeks ago. It could have been a month ago. And now this person is kind of taking that, especially if you keep repeatedly saying it, and then it becomes a situation where they're starting to feel like, wow, she really means this, or wow, she's taking, they start taking offense. Because basically what happens in that situation is, you might say, oh man, look at those pants, you wearing those tight pants again, or oh, you wearing those shoes again, or dang, you got your hair cut like that, or oh man, you look this way, or you look that. This may be something that you keep joking about, thinking that it's funny and thinking that they're seeing it as being funny, and they trying to suck it up and like, I'm gonna be a man, I'm not gonna let it hurt my feelings. But in reality, they're sitting there taking it in and going, oh, okay, this is how she feels about me. And the more they see that you actually do like them, the more they start judging you as a person because of the things that you've been saying. And now they feel like, you know what? I feel that I know she likes me, but she's a bad person and I no longer want to be with her. I don't want to talk to her anymore. So now they dump you, leave you hanging when you just got to liking them as much as you possibly could. So you out there on a limb. The second thing you never want to say to a guy is something comparing him to another guy, even if it compares him favorably. Here's why. When you say something negative, obviously, like, oh, well, my ex was way better looking than you, or oh, my ex was built way better than you are, or oh, my ex treated me better, or oh, my ex talked better, blah, blah, blah. You say any of those things, obviously a person's going to take offense. Think about it from your own perspective. What if you went out with a guy or you were dating a guy and he started saying that his ex was better than you, or his ex did this better, or did that better, oh, my ex was a way better cook, or something like that. Obviously, that's going to offend you and you're going to hold a grudge. Keep it real. So the same is going to be true with a guy. You say those types of things, you disrespect him with those types of things, he's going to get upset. But also, even when you compare someone favorably, sometimes when you try to say, oh, well, you're way better than my ex, you're way smarter than my ex, you're way funnier than my ex, oh, my ex was a loser compared to you. Some of these things you might say might also get the guy feeling like, wow, You date losers, or they might even start feeling like they're too good for you. It may go from I really, really like you to I don't think I should date somebody like you because you've been making bad choices your entire life. Now, this may not be the case in the long run, or it may not be the way the guy is, but you don't want to start out making those type of statements and doing those type of comparisons because you don't know how that person's going to take it. You don't know how they're going to see it. You don't know what type of situation they've been in with other women where they might have got those same type of comparisons and things might not have turned out so well. So you don't know if that triggers them in some type of way. So it's better to stay away from the comparisons and just really give a person a compliment based on their own merit, not based on what you think about another person. The number 3 thing you never want to say to a guy is anything speaking down on their financial status. You don't want to do that. Here's why. At first, the guy may try to prove to you that he's good enough. At first, the guy may try to prove to you that you should be with him, that you should give him a chance. But the things that you say are always going to be in the back of his mind. The things that you said about him being broke, if you talk about his car breaking down, talking about the fact that he had to ride the bus. If you think somebody is financially not worthy of you, that's okay. It's understandable, but just don't date them. Don't get with somebody and start talking down on them and talking down on their financial situation, because even though you may really be frustrated with it or upset by it, when you say those types of things, you build animosity. And sometimes it's animosity that you don't even know about. This is why you hear about a lot of women. It's not the only reason, but a lot of times it is the reason why you hear about women getting with a guy who's broke, he gets rich, and then he leaves them. The part of the story that no one ever brings up is, what was she saying to that dude when he was broke? So if you're talking about somebody, if you're dogging them when they're broke, if you're saying bad things about them having, financial difficulties when they're broke, are they supposed to get rich? And then now all of a sudden you change the way you talk to them? Of course you're probably not going to. But are they supposed to get rich and then forget everything you said about them? Of course they're not. They're going to look at you and group you in with all the haters. So if they ever do well, you won't get to be a part of it. So you'll be a part of all their hard times, but none of their good times. That sucks. Also, even if they don't do better, if you really like the person and you want to be in a relationship with them, talking about their financial situation makes them want to get with somebody who is going to be supportive of their financial situation. So a lot of times, even though you think, oh, they're broke and nobody else wants them, like my mama always says, if you want that person, somebody else does too. All right? So if you want that person, somebody else is going to want them also. So make sure that if you're in a relationship with somebody, even if they're going down financial hard times, either, hey, walk away and just move on because you can't deal with it, or don't say anything negative. Keep it positive. Make sure you do, because you don't want to get left behind. You don't want to be a person that sees somebody rise to the top and then you're left behind, or if they leave you for somebody else when you still care about them and you still like being with them. Now, of course, there are plenty of reasons why a guy may turn on you at some point or cool on you and stop liking you as much. But, I just gave you those 3 things that you might say because they're very, very common. I've actually witnessed people saying these types of things. These are things that could really turn somebody against you. Of course, it doesn't happen to everybody. Some people get away with saying those things. But, why put yourself in a bad situation if you don't have to?